Okay, so Smilai, I briefly mentioned this last week, and I guess I'll mention it again today. The NFF, man. I want to say I love you guys. You guys know that NFF and I were, at best, I would say we're frenemies. We can be friends at times, we can be enemies at times. I criticize them when they do things wrong. People think I criticize them too much, but the reason is because they do a lot of things wrong. But I also try to give them leeway and I praise them when they are doing good things. Like they had a good social media creation company to manage their social media. I gave them plaudits for it. I had to criticize them because they were posting content on the Super Eagles page. They were not posting on the Super Falcons page. I criticized them. They woke up. They started posting some content on the Super Falcons page as well. But when it comes to attention for the Super Falcons, I think it needs to go beyond posts on social media. You need to actually treat the team like they matter. You need to actually give them the respect that they deserve. Can you imagine an international window that the Super Eagles are not playing any match? Like, can we actually imagine if there's an international break and every other country is playing and Osime is just vacationing, indeed he's on vacation, these guys are not playing? Like, can we imagine that? So why should that be the case for the Super Falcons of Nigeria? Now, not only has that been the case for the Super Falcons, that has been the case for two consecutive international breaks. Like, just imagine that two consecutive international breaks. We are trying to reclaim, or at least we say we are trying to reclaim our African crown in the summer at the WAFCON in Morocco. While other women national teams are playing and are trying hard, are trying to improve and get better, our Super Falcons players are inactive, are going to be on vacation. Not only is it a shame for the national team, it is very, very embarrassing for the players. I've spoken to several players. When it is time for international break and their club colleagues are going to all their different national teams, then they come and ask, Smith, like, you are not going, they did not call you up. You have to say, nobody said they don't call me up, oh, we just don't have match. It's embarrassing. And these are how the things that people look at and make them continue to look down on us, make them continue to look down on Africa. But this time it's not even an Africa thing because other African countries are active. If you don't have money to organize a high profile friendly against somebody, at least do the Ethiopia one that you did for them before. Give them something. But the reality of it is they don't want to pay logistics fees. They don't want to pay all the flights fees. They don't want to accommodate them because all those things is going to be on the NFF's dime. They don't want to. They don't want to do all these things. They talk about Super Eagles, Super Eagles, Super Eagles, but they ignore the Super Falcons. They talk about how the Super Falcons don't generate as much money as Super Eagles. Of course, we know that. Women's football still doesn't generate the kind of income that men's football does. We know that. But how can, like, I challenge anybody here that maybe is a business guru or a marketing guru or is an NFF friend of the NFF, tell me, how can the Super Falcons generate money in terms of advertisements, in terms of sponsorship, all those things, if you don't even talk about them? If they are not playing matches, how is that possible? The Super Falcons have enough individually popular players, obviously not as many as the men's national team, but they have Ajibade, they have Oshoala, they have Nadozie, they have Alozie, they have people that are popular that you can sell around those players. Are you telling me that if you do some kind of deal with a company and you say, let's even maybe women's, any, even if it is a women's focused company in Nigeria, and you tell them that Ajibade, Oshoala, Inadozie will be advertising and be the face of their product, are you telling me that it's not something worthwhile for them? They just don't think about these things. I won't say some things that because I've had, you guys know, that I was supposed to partner with them on the awards that they wanted to do. We had some internal conversations with people that work with them, people, in those rooms, and you can really just tell that the they don't think about these ladies. They don't think about the women's national team. When they think about football in Nigeria, they think about Super Eagles, and that's as much as they think about. The youth teams are not a priority to them either. They are just subsequent. Okay, they come along. And the reason why they even think about the youth team is because that's where a lot of people butter their bread. Allegedly. May personal. But like that's the reality. That's where a lot of people butter their bread. That's where a lot of people, make some small things here and there. by pay to play, by transfers, you push this player to Europe, you get a little bit of a cut, you know, things like that. It's very, very shameful. Again, at the last WAFCON, after the tournament, everybody came out to criticize Randy Wardrum. Everybody came out to criticize certain players. Is it Onumonu that faced backlash? Or a bunch of different players faced backlash. What a lot of people did not realize is that even at that tournament, they were fighting for themselves every single day. Before the game that they lost, the third place match against Zambia, they literally had to protest before that game. They got to the World Cup in 2023. When they arrived in Australia, the first thing they did was the general secretary called a meeting with them and told them that they're not going to pay them any bonuses throughout the tournament. That's the first time they told them going to the tournament in 2023. Now, fast forward to 2025, they have a tournament coming up in July. Two windows inactive. There are two more windows. We have to wait and see if they're going to do anything with those windows. After the previous window, they they promised them that they will be active this April window. Now they've been told that they're not going to be active again. It is a shame. It is sad. It is There is no excuse for it. It's a disgrace. I'm sure South Africa, Morocco, they're just laughing at us. Like, look at the people that want to compete. See what they are doing. Nigeria were just lucky because of our population and because God blessed us with talent. That's the reason why we're still able to really, really compete with these people at a very high level. But if we did not have that, we will stand no chance based on how we do things. We would really stand no chance. I think it is a shame. I hope somebody from the NFF is watching. If nobody from the NFF is watching, I send it to them because the players are not happy. And unfortunately for them, the players don't really have a voice because if they speak up, they get blackballed, they get sidelined, their international careers get put on hold. But you guys know me, I'm friends with a lot of the Super Falcons players, and I talk to them every now and then, and they are very, very disappointed. They are very, very sad about the situation. But what can they do? More than four different players reached out to me and said, Ayo, please help us talk about this thing because nobody is talking about it. All our content creators that like to post on social media, maybe because if they criticize NFF now, next time that we're going to Kigali, who's going to put them on NFF plane? So they cannot say anything. And that's the sad thing with our Nigerian media. A lot of them, they've sold their birthrights to the NFF because, oh, you want to be getting free flights to international games. You want to be getting access to certain places. So you just cannot say anything negative about them. And even, I'll criticize my friend here, I won't call his name. The reaction from some people that are in the media, they have not sold themselves, oh, but they just have that lack of care. Smithla, you know who I'm talking about. Because when I sent it, his response was, Ayo don't come again with Super Falcons matter. He said it is sad that Smithla has to listen to Ayo talk about this thing. And for me, I look at it that even when people in the media that have platforms feel very uninterested and even laugh when I am interested and I talk about these things, the NFF realized that there are more people fighting for them than fighting against them. But yes, Midlai, what do you think about this whole thing?
You know, for me, you started by saying something about priorities. It's clear that they don't prioritize the Falcons and any of our female national team. I have to be honest with you about that. And I listened to the Man United. Is he the director also? They were telling him, they said that you have been, focusing more on the men football, on the men Man United team. What is happening to the ladies? So that when 98% of the revenue is coming from somewhere, you have to focus on that area. Then he said that is business. But I don't know, maybe they are getting any revenue from Super Eagles. I'm talking about this. So you can't talk
Free
about the business
flights.
part. Eh?
Free flights with value jets.
Value yet. So for me, I just think that they need to actually buckle up about this thing. And secondly, too, IoT, with due respect to the current NFF, they are doing nothing. The
Mm.
Super Eagles you see there is the Sports Commission. If you ask them to handle this World Cup qualifier, 10 minutes to this thing. You see, go so looking for flights to see how to go to get to. So they are not doing anything. This NFF currently are not doing anything. It's the sport commission you see doing everything. So and you cannot say the sport commission is going to be handling Falcons friendly now. You
Yeah.
cannot say that. You cannot say the sport commission to be handling other things. At least the NFF come and do your job. Do your job. Do your job. I'm just sad that these guys have to actually go through these things. But for me, I know that even CAF self, it's not promoting tournaments.
Even
It's,
cap. Yeah.
to be honest with you, they are making money from the AFCON. We don't know about the AFCON. They promoted the under 17 5 days or so before the tournament started. That's how they're promoting. Under 22 will be similar pattern. Maybe the WAFCON too is going to be similar pattern. Maybe when it's about a few weeks, they start promoting and promoting. So, but for me, people are getting ready. I'm going to end by saying this thing. Randy Wardrum said something. And said that it's going to get to a stage that Nigeria will not be qualifying for major tournaments again.
Hmm.
You can see the World Cup. Can you see? We can see that the AFCON, we had the lowest point out of all the group leaders in the whole of Africa.
Hmm.
This time around now, if they bump Nigeria out of the quarterfinals in the WAFCON coming,
That's the end.
that's the end. So for me, I think, see, let me say something too. The NFF again, under 17 is going on now. The qualifiers for the next edition is going to start in a few months. There's no preparation. So the project that they are parading in Abuja, they are not doing now. It's people that are giving them money. So they are not doing anything. They should wake up to their responsibility.
Hmm. They should wake up and do their responsibility. It is, for me, it is shameful. It is disappointing. I know that the players are disappointed. Unfortunately, the Super Falcons don't even have a substantive head coach.
Mm-hmm.
What this allows them to not be able, I'm sure that, well, let me not say I'm sure, but I can guess that they're not paying this man salary unless it's time for international engagement. You want to now hire a coach, or maybe you now make him permanent before the tournament starts in July. Then you expect the players to go there and perform magic. And it's because, unfortunately, backlash doesn't really come their way. If they don't do well, people will insult, they are doing fine, girl, they are posting TikTok, they're doing, and that's unfortunately like how too many Nigerians think, and it's such a silly way of thinking. Something
Mm-hmm.
happens, it's just will start to insult players, and unfortunately, because it's women, they now start to insult them based on looks, insult them based on other things that are just unnecessary and have nothing to do with football. When Randy
Mm-hmm.
Wardrum was there, we knew that Randy Wardrum would stay on their necks. Randy Wardrum he would give them international embarrassment. He would go on American podcast and talk about them. And they hated those kind of embarrassment. But then when they have a coach now that is literally in their palms, they do and undo. Nobody's going to say anything about them. It is a shame, but let's see how things continue to progress. Shout out to all the Super Falcons players. There are so many of them that are doing well at their clubs. So many of them. But if we don't keep the team together, if we don't find ways to integrate people like Okuchuku now, is it when it's time for WAFCON, you just call her up to the squad? Is it
Mm-hmm.
not time now
There's
that
no window again.
no, there's one more window.
Okay. When?
It's, I think
June?
is in May or June.
Mm-hmm.
But is it all of a sudden you call? These are the times that they're supposed to be getting familiar, getting used to it. Let's even say, I think 2 or 3 windows ago, when they called up the home base players, they
Mm-hmm.
said, "Oh, they want to start finding ways to integrate the home base players into the squad." Okay, you call them one window. Since then, we've not heard from them again. Can you say that even that project you did a good job at it? Can you say that you actually integrated them? No. What is it by playing 1, 2 games with majority of the squad not there that you now say, okay, you know who's supposed to be in the main team or not? So the way they do things is just so haphazard. They just didn't want to spend money on flights that time. They wanted to just call people that they will give them transport to come from Akwa Ibom
Mm-hmm.
to Abuja or Lagos for match. Very, very, very disappointing. Charles says, can Guso just please resign after this World Cup qualifiers? We need a massive overhaul. I mean, let's be realistic with ourselves. It's not people don't resign in Nigeria. That's why I don't call for resignation because I know it's not going to happen. People don't resign. They will be there until they can be there no more. So, but
Even
it's
if they're on a wheelchair, they will still
they'll
continue.
still, as long as they have breath though. And
Mm-hmm.
then I don't want to criticize her because I know she does a lot of work within the NFF, and some players have told me about how she has fought for them in the past. But sometimes I wonder what she does when things like this are happening. And she's sitting on the board of the NFF. She gets all the clout in the world.
The follow day.
Yeah, they champion her like the savior of women's football in Nigeria. But then things like this happen, and we don't really hear from her.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know.